These track athletes were told the line was too high, the lane was too hard, or the dream was too big. Then they stepped into races that were supposed to expose them. What happened next did not just prove people wrong. It changed what the sport believed was possible. Track and field is full of numbers that sound like walls. A teenager cannot beat grown men. A marathon cannot go under 2 hours. Lane 8 cannot produce a 400-meter world record. An athlete under attack cannot keep winning. A record that stood for decades cannot fall indoors. Then someone runs, and the wall is gone. That is why underdog stories in track hit so hard. The sport gives no cover. There is only the lane, the clock, and the people beside you. When experts doubt an athlete, the answer cannot be hidden in a press conference. It has to come at full speed. These 5 stories are different, but they share one thing. Each athlete heard a version of the same message. Not yet. Not like that. Not from there. Not under this pressure. Not against this history. Then they answered with the only language track respects. They moved faster than doubt could follow. Cooper Lutkenhaus was supposed to be a future story, not a world champion right now. At 17 years and 93 days old, he walked into the 2026 World Indoor Championships in Turin and won the men's 800 meters in 1:44.24. The 800 meters is not kind to teenagers. It is rough, tactical, and painful. The bends are tight indoors. Position matters. One wrong move can trap even a strong runner. Cooper was racing men with more years, more strength, and more senior experience, but he did not wait for permission. He moved on the 3rd lap, forced the race to answer him, then held off Belgium's Eliud Kipchoge by 0.14 seconds. Spain's Mohamed Atawi took bronze, but the headline belonged to the high school kid from Texas. That gold made Cooper the youngest male athlete to win an individual title at the World Indoor Championships. It also changed how people talk about age in middle distance. A 17-year-old was not supposed to handle that kind of final. He did anyway. Now the question is no longer whether he belongs. It is how fast the sport must adjust before he grows stronger. For decades, the 2-hour marathon felt almost impossible. Coaches, scientists, and runners talked about it like a moon landing. The distance is 42.195 kilometers, and to break 2 hours, a runner has to hold a pace that crushes almost everyone on Earth. Eliud Kipchoge was already great before Vienna. He was an Olympic champion and world record marathoner. But even he had missed the barrier in 2017 when the breaking 2 attempt left him 25 seconds short. That failure made the wall feel more real. Then came the INEOS 159 Challenge on October 12, 2019. The course was controlled. The pacers rotated. The setup was built for one man and one target. That is why the time could not count as an official world record. But the clock still mattered. Kipchoge crossed the line in 1:59:40.2. For the first time, a human being had run the marathon distance in under 2 hours. It was not a normal race, but it was a real distance, run on real legs, under real pressure. He did not erase every debate. He changed the border of belief. After that day, the question was no longer whether a man could run under 2 hours. The question became when it would happen in an official race. Wayde van Niekerk got lane 8 in the 2016 Olympic 400-meter final, and that sounded like bad news. In the 400, lane 8 gives you no one to chase. You run blind. You cannot see the field until late, and if you judge the pace wrong, the race can disappear before the final straight. The men inside him were giants. Karani James had Olympic gold. LaShawn Merritt had Olympic gold. Michael Johnson's world record, 43.18, had stood since 1999. The setup did not look made for a South African in the outside lane to rewrite history. Then Van Niekerk attacked the full lap like he had no fear of the stagger. He ran hard early, held form around the bend, and came into the straight with the field chasing ghosts. The last 100 meters should have broken him. Instead, he kept moving. The clock stopped at 43.03. He had won Olympic gold and broken Johnson's world record from lane 8. It remains one of the great shock races in Olympic history because the lane was part of the story. He did not win despite seeing everyone. He won while seeing almost no one. That night changed the 400 meters. It proved that the hardest lane could still produce the fastest lap ever. Caster Semenya's career was never only about racing. From the moment she won the 800 meters world title in 2009 as an 18-year-old, her name was pulled into one of the hardest debates in modern sport. Questions about eligibility, regulations, fairness, and human rights followed her for years. On the track, the pressure was public and heavy. Many athletes face rivals. Semenya faced rivals, headlines, legal fights, and rules that shaped where and how she could compete. Still, when the race was there, she kept answering. She won Olympic 800-meter gold for 2012 after the original winner was disqualified for doping. She won the 2016 Olympic 800-meter title in Rio in 1:55.28. In 2017, she won another World 800-meter title in London and also took bronze in the 1500 meters. Her story is not simple, and it should not be treated like a normal underdog tale. The debate around her remains serious, and different people see it in different ways. But one part is clear. Under pressure that would have crushed many athletes, Semenya kept lining up and winning. She changed the sport because her career forced track to face questions it had tried to keep off the track. Her victories were not just about medals. They became part of a larger fight over rules, bodies, and power in athletics. Yomif Kejelcha's story is about the pain of almost. In February 2019 at the Millrose Games, he chased the indoor mile world record and missed it by 1/100th of a second. His time was 3:48.46. Hicham El Guerrouj's record was 3:48.45. 1/100th is nothing and everything. It is a blink. It is a lean. It is the cruelest kind of miss. Many runners would carry that mark like a wound. Kejelcha turned it into fuel. Less than a month later in Boston, he came back for another attempt. This time, there was no tiny miss. He ran 3:47.01 and broke the indoor mile world record by 1.44 seconds. That was not a small correction. It was a clean strike at one of the sport's famous indoor marks. Kejelcha had already been known as a brilliant distance runner, but that mile changed how people viewed his range. He was not only a championship racer in longer events, he had the speed, rhythm, and courage to chase a classic record in a brutal indoor setting. The record later moved again, but his answer still matters. He was told by the clock that he had missed history by almost nothing. Instead of shrinking, he came back and took history by a clear margin. These stories are powerful, but they should not be turned into fairy tales. Every breakthrough has context. Cooper still has to prove he can build a long senior outdoor career. Kipchoge's sub-2 run was not eligible as an official world record because of the special setup. Van Niekerk's career later faced injury setbacks. Semenya's story remains tied to rules and court battles. Kejelcha's mile record did not stand forever. That does not weaken the stories, it makes them real. Track is not a place where one great day solves every problem. The next race always comes, but the best underdog moments still matter because they break a limit in public.